Hello guys, welcome back. Now today, I'm going to be ranking my top 5 teams with the brightest futures in the NHL. Now in the league today, there's a bunch of teams with very promising futures. But which teams crack my top 5 and who do I think has the best future in the entire NHL? Watch till the end to find out. When it comes to players on the team now and prospects in the future, the 5 teams that I'll mention in this video have very promising futures, and all 5 of them I can see winning the cup in the next 10 years. That's how good they are, and that's how promising they are right now. Now a huge example of that will be at number 5, and for my 5th brightest future in the entire NHL, I have the New Jersey Devils. Right now they have a very promising future with a bunch of different guys. Again, they're a pure example of having great players now and in the future. Admittedly, New Jersey's prospect pool is not the best by any means, but adding Jack Hughes to that just makes it a little bit better in my opinion. When it comes to New Jersey though, they are a pure example of having great players now and having great players in the future. Obviously now you got guys like Taylor Hall, PK Subban, who they just added this past offseason. They're working towards getting to that contending status, and also in that future side of things, having Nico Hischier, having Jack Hughes, ain't bad at all. When it comes to New Jersey's youth, they have a great mix of, again, players in the NHL now and players that will be in the NHL in the future. You obviously got the 1-2 punch of centers, Nico Hischier, Jack Hughes. Probably will be one of the best 1-2 punch we see in the NHL in just a few short years, maybe as soon as next season, who knows. You also got the defense, guys like Damon Severson who are good, Will Butcher who is fantastic offensively, Ty Smith who will come up and play well, and goaltending wise is a little bit rocky, but Mackenzie Blackwood showed a little bit of promise last season, backing up Corey Schneider when he was healthy. He might get a bigger chance next season, and we'll see how much he goes, if he sinks or swims. You also got some solid depth guys that I personally am really big fans of. You got guys like Jesper Bratt, Miles Wood. You got some other great prospects too, like Jesper Boquist, and of course, Michael McLeod. Now, the big thing with New Jersey is, of course, Taylor Hall. If he stays, I think they're slam dunk a top 5 future in the NHL, but it really does depend on him. If he does go, I still think they have an excellent future. Guys like Jack Hughes, guys like Nico Hischier, but Taylor Hall being that former MVP, he is a gigantic part of that team, and as he should be. But New Jersey, again, that whole contract situation has been a big flowing point around New Jersey in the past couple of months. Getting guys like PK Subban, that was why. But adding Subban and Jack Hughes makes their future already fantastic, and if Taylor Hall can re-sign for probably under $13 million, that wouldn't be bad at all. Moving on to number 4, my 4th brightest future in the NHL, and at number 4, I had the Vancouver Canucks. And when it comes to Vancouver, they've been on this rebuild for quite a long time, pretty much since 2015, 2016, and ever since then, they've been slowly building up prospects, but right now it's starting to finally pay off. They got some decent players in the NHL now, but they got some fantastic prospects still coming up. When it comes to Vancouver's prospect pool, it's definitely not as good as it used to be, but that's not necessarily a bad thing either. A lot of the prospects that led those prospect pools back a couple of years ago have now graduated. Obviously, Brock Boeser, Elias Pettersson, Bo Horvat, those are the big 3 guys on that forward group, but they still have a lot to go with, and Quentin Hughes, the big defenseman there, will be the next guy to graduate next season. But they still got some excellent guys still left behind, and the prospect pool, while it isn't as good, is still pretty solid. When it comes to the notable players for Vancouver youth-wise, obviously you got Elias Pettersson, Brock Boeser, Bo Horvat, Quinn Hughes, who were already mentioned, but you got some fantastic guys still left to develop. Guys like Podkolzin, Nils Hoglander, Jet Wu, Olli Juolevi, Thatcher Demko, Tyler Madden, Adam Gaudette. There's some fantastic depth and star talent still left in that prospect pool right now that can develop quite well. And for Vancouver, again, I think the main thing I keep going back on is goaltending. Markstrom is a very solid and underrated goaltender right now, but the future with Thatcher Demko is kind of a question mark right now, and I like his potential. If he pans out, he will be a starter in the NHL, but that's a big if right now. He's starting to get to the age where he's going to get in a little bit of bust territory, but he still has some time for Vancouver to develop him right. They'll be super scary. Now, while I'm very reluctant to say that Vancouver might win a cup in the next 5 or 10 years, I definitely think it is possible. While Vancouver obviously doesn't do that type of thing, you know, winning cups yet, I think it can definitely happen. The future is very bright for them, and how many young guys they have, how many talented young guys they have, is super, super promising for them. I love the direction they're heading, and if they can find some goaltending, if Vancouver wins a cup in the next 5 or 10 years, I wouldn't honestly be surprised. Moving on to number 3 for my 3rd brightest future in the entire NHL, I have the Montreal Canadiens. And they've done big things since a couple of years ago. A couple of years ago, they were looking like one of the dumbest teams in the entire NHL. But since then, they've turned it around quite well. They've turned a team that was dead in the water to a team that's contending for the playoffs, and a prospect pool that was pretty garbage to one of the best prospect pools in the entire NHL. Back a couple of years ago, Marc Bergevin was looked at as one of the worst GMs gems in the entire NHL, but he's turned himself around a little bit. Now, I'm still not going to say that he's one of the best GMs in the entire NHL because of what he did a couple of years ago, but he's made a little bit of a name for himself, especially in the last couple of years, for making the right moves and putting Montreal in a position to really succeed, as they did last season. And I gotta give big credit to the development and scouting staff in Montreal for developing one of the best prospect pools in the entire NHL, throughout their AHL system, throughout just the system in general. They've done a fantastic job of that, and the notable players just go from left to right, from top to bottom. They have so many prospects to choose from right now. Now, obviously, when it comes to the notable young guys, they got Jesperi Kotkaniemi, Ryan Poehling, Nick Suzuki. You also got Cole Caulfield going on in that offense. Some fantastic offensive contributors who will be top 6 guys in the NHL in the future. You also got some solid defense prospects and defense guys already. Guys like Victor Mete, who are fantastic. You also got Cale Fleury, Josh Brook, Alexander Romanov, who are solid. You also got a little bit of a future in Cam Premu, a goaltender with a lot of potential too. I don't know if he'll take the starter spot from Carey Price anytime soon, but he can be the next guy after him too. So Montreal in every single position has so much to work with, especially forward-wise, as their center core prospect pool-wise is just kind of mind-boggling how good it really is. The only real position that I would say Montreal is even declining in would be goaltending, but Carey Price showed last season that he has still a lot of juice left in him, and Cam Premu can be a starter in the future if need be. So Montreal pretty much has every single position locked up, and even more than that. That forward core will be super scary next season. It's been scary in the last couple of years, but they turned around that entire team into being a team that couldn't score goals to a team that has too many goals. Moving on to number 2, for my second best future in the entire NHL, I have the New York Rangers. And the Rangers, since trade deadline 2018, have done one of the best rebuilds we've seen in the modern era. They've done such a good job in such a short time that it's kind of insane. After not even 2 years of rebuilding, the New York Rangers are here and here to stay, pretty much contending for the playoffs as soon as next season. Now, on the NHL roster already, you got Mika Zibanejad, you also got Artemi Panarin, 2 guys that are still somewhat young, obviously in their primes right now, but the players off the roster that aren't on the team yet are what makes them so enticing and have such a great future. Obviously on the forward side, you got Kakko, Vitaly Kravtsov, so many different guys to choose from, Philip Hedl, Elias Anderson, too many guys to really name right now. You also got some depth guys like Henriksen, obviously Levy Alton will be good for them. But when it comes to New York, the defense is also very good for them too. Keandre Miller, Adam Fox, Nils Lundqvist, Matthew Robertson, some fantastic guys that make them so interesting. And goaltending might have been the one weakness, but they got Igor Shesterkin, who coming from the KHL has starter potential, and not just has starter potential, but elite potential. While the team right now might not have enough pieces to contend for a cup, I think they can definitely contend for the playoffs, and in a couple of years, they will be cup contenders. Having guys like Kaapo, Kakko in their prime, Artemi Panarin still in his prime, guys like Mika Zibanejad, that team will be super scary to see watch, and will be exciting. I think they'll have, again, a Toronto effect in 2016, where they're out of that rebuild, they come out of nowhere, and all these youthful guys have such a big impact on their team. And I think it will be that kind of era. Having guys like Kaapo, Kakko be so good at such a young age is such a valuable thing for the New York Rangers, and still having Henrik Lundqvist on that team also is a nice boost. Kind of like the Montreal Canadiens, but I would say even to a bigger extent, the New York Rangers have every single position locked up for the future. On the forward side, obviously you got Kaapo, Kakko, Mika Zibanejad, Artemi Panarin, fantastic guys, and all the other guys that developed quite well too. On the defense, some people might say that's a little bit of an issue, but for me, they have so many top forward prospects that I think will develop that way that I don't think it will be an issue in the next couple of years. And you also have the goaltending side of things. And Igor Shesterkin, I still think is a question mark, but the potential is definitely there. And even if he doesn't pan out, I'm personally a huge fan of Georgiev and what he can bring in the NHL too. Well, the New York Rangers' future is fantastic, and all the other 4 teams I mentioned have fantastic futures. Number 1, in my opinion, is almost a slam dunk. And for the team that I think has the best future across the entire NHL, I have the Colorado Avalanche. And they're a team that back a couple of years ago, might have had one of the worst futures in the entire NHL. A team that was trying to contend, but had no prospect pool basically at that point, and a team that had one of the worst records across pretty much NHL history. But now it's a completely different story, and now they will be coming for blood. To think of what they were at 2 years ago, the complete turnaround is what is most magical about them. Joe Sakic's done some wonderful stuff in that span. Obviously, the Matt Duchene trade is looking pretty good for them right now. But in general, Colorado has done such a great job from top to bottom, management, development, whatever it might be. Everyone has stepped up, and right now the future is definitely the biggest payoff. Now, I'm just going to note off the notable young players on this team, and it might be a little bit of a long list. Obviously, first you have Nathan McKinnon. I heard he's pretty decent. I think he is at least. You also got Mikko Rennan there. Obviously, Gabriel Landeskog, who's still pretty young in his NHL career. You got some fantastic prospects, though, that are still on the team. Guys like Bowen Byram, Cale Makar, who might be maybe the best future pairing across the entire NHL. 2 4th overall picks, but 2 fantastic defensemen that will be catalysts on that defense for year to come. You also got guys like Connor Timmins, who are very solid too. Nikita Zadorov, who is decent too. But on that forward group, you got Martin Kaut, Alex Newhook, who'll be great for them. So many fantastic fits in general, and Colorado has that going for them. You also got Burakovsky, who they just got in a trade. And when it comes to Colorado, they have so much going for them, so many different prospects, that it's almost too much to count. Now, the only weakness I see on the roster now and in the future is goaltending. They got Philip Grubauer as the starter right now. He's at age 27, in his prime technically. But if Philip Grubauer can be a decent NHL goaltender, I think Colorado can win a cup or two. And I'm not putting that lightly. Colorado has such a great forward core, such a great defense core, that honestly, I'm so scared about them, I can't even say they won't win a Stanley Cup. They're that good. Looking at that forward group, looking at the defense group, it's hard not to say they won't win a Stanley Cup. They're that good, and when it comes to Colorado as a Dallas Stars fan, I am super scared for what they might bring. But I like the New York Rangers' future, I like the Vancouver Canucks' future, the Montreal Canadiens' future, and the New Jersey Devils' future. But when it comes to the best futures in the NHL, Colorado to me was a slam dunk, and for what they've done so far, they deserve to have the best future in the NHL, just for all that misery they had back in 2017. But of course, with this video, I need to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comments down below. So let me know, what do you think about my top 5 futures in the entire NHL? And let me know, do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? Let me know. And of course, the question on to you, who do you think has the best future in the NHL? But if you guys want some more Grav videos just like this one, you can click on this card right here to watch my video on the New York Rangers and if they're the next NHL Dynasty. But that'll be it for today, guys. If you guys enjoy, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell if you haven't already. Again, comment down below your thoughts on my futures and who you think has the best future in the NHL. And I'll see you guys next video or stream. Goodbye.